Salvete omnes, and welcome to Learning Latin in 5 minutes. I'm Magister Soa, and today we're going to be talking about declensions. Now, what is a declension? Put simply, declensions are groupings of nouns with similar endings. Each of these groupings have singular and plural endings and are organized according to case. The cases are nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and ablative. The nominative is the subject of our sentence. So in the following example, Caecilius est pater, Caecilius is in the nominative case. Next we have the genitive or possessive case. In the following example, Quintus est filius Caecilii, Caecilii is in the genitive case. When translated, we have Quintus is the son of Caecilius. Next, we come to the dative case. Think of it as your indirect object. In the following example, Quintus pecuniam servo dat, servo is in the dative case. Quintus gives money to the slave. The accusative is your direct object. So if we take a look again at the sentence, Quintus pecuniam servo dat, you'll notice that pecuniam is in the accusative case. Quintus gives money to the slave. And finally, we come to the ablative case. The ablative is kind of a catch-all case for a bunch of different things. We tend to use it a lot with prepositions. So in the following, Quintus cum amico ambulat, Quintus walks with a friend, you'll notice that cum amico is in the ablative case, but because the preposition cum takes an ablative. You'll find lots of different ablatives as we progress through the Cambridge Latin course text. And ab, which mean away from, which is where we get the name ablative case. Okay, so now that we've taken a look at our cases, let's see how they interact in a declension. So I pulled up here the first declension, which we tend to look at as the feminine declension, but there are some exceptions. For example, poeta, poetae, poet, and agricola, agricolae, nauta, nautae. These have feminine endings or first declension endings, but they are seen as masculine nouns. I've picked one here for us, weai, which is feminine, meaning street. And I will go over the endings with you now. The nominative singular, weia, genitive singular, weai, the dative singular, weai, the accusative singular, weam, the ablative singular, weah. Hold that A for a little extra time on the ablative. And now the plural nominative, weai, the genitive plural, wearum, the dative plural, weis, the accusative plural, weas, and the ablative plural, weis. When we come to the second declension, you'll notice that there are both masculine and neuter nouns in this grouping. So starting with the nominative singular, we have us, the genitive singular I, the dative singular o, the accusative singular and the ablative singular o. In the plural, we have I, orum, is, os, is. Now when we come to the neuter classification of second declension nouns, notice that we change the us in the nominative to an And for the nominative plural, instead of an I, we have an A. So for example, bella in the nominative plural and bella in the accusative plural. Okay, so here's an example of a typical Latin sentence. Quintus ancillam amat. Quintus loves the slave girl. Now let's just take a look at word order for a second. In the Latin sentence, we have the subject, Quintus, followed by the object, ancillam, and finally the verb at the end. So when you are trying to figure out a Latin sentence, always, always, always go to the end of your sentence. Look at the verb because it will tell you who is doing what to whom. Latin is, after all, an inflected language, and so a lot of information is wrapped up in these case endings for the nouns and the endings for your verbs. Now, if we were to compare this to a typical English sentence of the same ilk, we see that Quintus loves the slave girl. The verb comes right after the subject, and the object follows your verb. So we'll typically talk about Latin sentences as SOV, subject, object, verb, rather than in English, subject, verb, object. In summary, we took a look today at the Latin declension system. The declensions are simply groupings of nouns based on similar endings. We took a look at the cases in these declensions, the nominative, the genitive, dative, accusative, and ablative cases, what these mean, and how they operate within a Latin sentence. Finally, we took a look at Latin word order, how a Latin sentence typically works. So hopefully all these little pointers will help you get started on learning Latin, and I look forward to seeing you both online and in the classroom real soon.